Hold on while I switch to everything. Sorry, chat. Hello. Am I here? I'm waiting for everything to load in. I am here. I had to reconnect to the Wi-Fi on my phone side. Hello, everyone. Trying to tell someone their assumption is wrong or that something they believed was propaganda almost never works. I'd recommend trying to introduce information that contradicts their wrong belief and steer them into coming to the right conclusions themselves. They'll be super resistant if you just outright tell them you're wrong. Yeah, I think that's true. It's hard to. What is it that people say sometimes? Is that it's hard to convince someone that they had been, or it's easy to lie to someone, but it's harder to convince someone that they have been lied to. Um, Comrades, my original intention for this next section was to read some of Susie Kim's book, Everyday Life in the North Korean Revolution, 1945 to 1950, but I believe that it's in my husband's car. So I'm going to grab a couple book options for us because I can't seem to find it anywhere. So I'm going to grab a couple book options for us. And my plan was to read for 30 minutes and then do some like video watching stuff for 30 minutes. How does that sound? And we can put it. I'll ask chat what we want to read a little bit. W. Cool. Okay, comrades. I have two book options. Oh, I'm also probably gonna take a break before we start because I forgot to do that before switching back. But I imagine that thinking the DPRK is oppressive while believing in America, the freer country, you could lose the ability to have a job by saying you like the DPRK. Yes, that's what they were talking about in the last part of Loyal Citizens that we watched, is how the way that the the woman's friend who was called and asked to be on the show, the way that they responded to the questions was my I understood it as them being strategic about not being too like resistant to being on the show because they support or like the DPRK. My partner just got home too. I have to go to dinner. Thank you for company. Thank you for hosting, Virgo. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for Hegel Corner. Um, I'll be here again tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday fun day, so we're gonna be playing video games tomorrow. Um, but so I have two books. One that I have read, one that I have not read. Comrades. I don't own Disco Elysium, but I have Baldur's Gate 3 and Clair Obscura Expedition 33, and so we're gonna play Baldur's Gate 3 for the first half, and Clair Obscura Expedition 33 for the second half, and that's my plan. But I have two books, comrades. I'm going to talk about them now. The first one I have not read, and I have meant to, but it is called Bad Gays, A Homosexual History by Hugh Lemmy and Ben Miller. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I picked it up and I thought it was interesting. The inside cover, because it's It says, we all remember Oscar Wilde, but who speaks for Bosie? What about the bad gays whose unexemplary lives reveal more than we might expect? Many popular histories seek to establish homosexual heroes, pioneers, and martyrs, but as Hugh Lemmy and Ben Miller argue, the past is filled with queer people whose sexualities and dastardly deeds have been overlooked despite their being informative and instructive. So it's like a history of bad gay people. This is a history of bad gay people. Not good gay people. These are bad gay people. I haven't read it, but I thought it was interesting to like read about. So there's that, and then there's this one. This is A Two-Spirit Journey, the autobiography of a lesbian Ojibwe Cree elder by Mani Chakabi with Mary Louisa Plummer, who also writes a bit. I believe probably Mary Louisa wrote the book and Mani dictated the book, is what I understand. But I could be wrong about that. But this book I have read. It is by an indigenous lesbian elder who is Two-Spirit, and it talks about her journey understanding her Two-Spirit identity as a child in her indigenous community in Canada, and going through the experience of seeing her friends in the 60s scoop get snatched up, growing up, becoming an addict, going through recovery, learning to connect recovery with her indigenous faith, and then also connecting that to being a queer elder. So this book I have read, and I really like it. So I will. Can you hold up the second book so we can screenshot it? I think I've posted this. Pick a shit book. A shit book? Hold on, I have a bad book. Let me go grab it. The ship book is Be the Calm. The ship book is Be the Calm or Be the Storm by Sandy Yawn, Captain Sandy Yawn. This book is about how to be a good capitalist boss, written by a lesbian. All, all queer options. Should we read Capitalist Slop? I believe that this one is platitudes. Okay, we can read Capitalist Slop. Let's put it in the chat. Well, I'm gonna get a poll going. Two-Spirit Journey. I was certain. Sometimes it tells me that I'm not allowed to say things in the poll, and I was certain that mean bad gay people was not going to get approved. Pokemon, go to the polls. There are 12 people. Thank you guys for hanging out with me for so long, by the way. This has been such a fun, good first stream, I think. You can do more than 4 votes. Okay. So we're going to do a runoff poll. What to read to? Yeah, Stream Elements seems to not understand the Extreme relativism does not understand how to read the poll. We read a little of both. We could read a little of both. Yeah. Let's start with. How about we start with capitalist slop? Poll ended too quickly. Do we want to do a runoff poll? Hi, timekeeper. It was only a minute. Vote slop. Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's start with slop. We'll see how far we get into it, and then we'll switch over to mean gays. And then I'll save. I actually have a plan to have my friend Chelsea, who lives in the fake nation of Canada, and she works with an organization called Feathers of Hope, and we've already been planning on having her come on so we can talk about the indigenous concept of nations and indigenous sovereignty. And she was the one who actually recommended that book to me, so maybe we'll save that for when she's around. But let's find something to share.